Hi, I am Louis.
Good day, I am Neil.
As the reigning champion of the rings in Mexico, I owe my existence to the primordial soup theory.
Oh yeah. I had pea soup last night too. That is why I feel so strong. I like my pea soup.
No, what are you talking about? I meant the primordial soup theory of evolution. You know the theory that life was started by a reducing atmosphere on Earth with little to no oxygen 3.8 to 3.5 billion years ago.
That's ridiculous. Everyone knows life on Earth came from the creation of bubbles. That's why I like bubbles.
What do you mean? I don't just create life when I blow bubbles in my chocolate milk. My theory actually has machismo. According to Howden, the basic building blocks of life came from simple molecules which formed without oxygen. The first organisms were simple heterotrophs. And Miller proved in his experiments that a reducing atmosphere was capable of producing 20 different amino acids.
That makes no sense. How can you know what gases were in the atmosphere 3.5 billion years ago? And I heard that the first organisms were autotrophs, not heterotrophs. Miller's evidence doesn't prove anything because amino acids can't be formed spontaneously. It's simple thermodynamics. Bubbles from Mars fluoresce. That means that they would have UV protection. We can only exist today because of that ability. That's why I feel so safe in my bubble bath.
A bubble baths don't protect you from the sun. And B, there are other ways for organisms to have developed UV protection.
I know that extraterrestrial life is real. My aunt and her cows were abducted by aliens 2 years ago.
That must be why she's in the loony bin.
How dare you offend my dear Aunt Sally. My favorite cow Missy was taken too. She's the reason that Nestle and Nesquik exist.
Oh really? Well, to be perfectly honest, Nesquik is totally disgusting.
You are crazy. Just like that Manfred Eigen. And that idiotic stuff about abiogenesis and hypercycles and ribozymes.
Are you serious? That stuff is the best. It's so new and interesting. I mean seriously, hypercycles are pretty awesome. It's literally a never-ending cycle of the creation of information systems from an information storing system. Like RNA, totally awesome, right?
Jude, you fail to realize that those relate ribozymes, which essentially curtails their own chemical reactions. But they are totally useless. I mean seriously, most of them are limited to self-excisions, which is when the RNA molecule just keeps getting shorter. And besides, most of them are useless because they don't code for useful proteins.
But it's so awesome. You really don't get better than self-catalyzing enzymes.
But seriously, there is no way that it was possible back then. As much as I hate to admit it, the Miller experiment proves that the biochemicals that were needed for that to occur were too complex to have formed under the conditions established by the experiment.
Uh-huh. So you do believe that it was legit?
Only in this instance. Just talk to the hand.
Ha. I was totally right.
Just shut up.
Never. Loser.
Obviously some people need to take a chill pill. A lot of chill pills. We are never going to get over this. What do you think about the iron sulfur world theory?
Oh, I love that theory. The theory that early life on Earth was formed on the surface of iron sulfide minerals. That would make a lot of sense seeing as oxygen wasn't necessary for the atmosphere, but oxygen was within the water.
William Martin and Michael Russell suggested that the first life forms developed inside alkaline hydrothermal vents on the deep sea floor. The microcaverns around these vents would have been an ideal location for oligomeres to have formed as well because the new cells could have formed in close proximity to one another.
That would work perfectly as long as acetic acid were nearby because as Wachter-Schauser's experiments stated, it is essential for cellular metabolism.
I'm glad we can finally agree on the something.
Yeah, well, we might agree on this, but your ideas on bubble-forming life are still ridiculous.
At least I don't believe that pea soup created the world's life forms.